Season 4 starts next week on August 2nd, and with it comes a lot of new changes, so I've created a quick survival guide to help you be more prepared for the last leg of the expansion. So with that, let's get into it. The first major change for Season 4 is the Fated Raids. This is a totally new take on raids, and the way it works is each week during Season 4 will feature a different Fated Raid, which will either be Castle Nathria.
Welcome! I have so been looking forward to your arrival.
Sanctum of Domination, or the Sepulchre of the First Ones. Enemies within the Fated Raids are stronger and drop upgraded loot with a higher item level than usual, but with the higher item level comes more difficulty, as each boss will be granted an augment and have a wide variety of fated powers that will offer additional risk and powerful bonuses. Now that we know what the system is, let's go over each of the different fated powers that you're going to be dealing with in the raid. So the first one is called Creation Spark, which makes targeted players become charged with a dot. When they are dispelled, the spark will jump off the player and land on the ground. If nobody touches the spark, it'll explode. But if another player runs into it, they'll receive a buff that increases their movement speed, so as long as they stay inside the radius of the spark. The next one is called Reconfiguration Emitter, which will spawn an enemy that constantly casts AoE damage to everyone in the raid. The damage ramps up the longer they're alive, and when they die, the entire raid receives a buff to basically mastery, crit, and versatility, as well as avoidance, and it's based on the enemy's energy value. Protoform Barrier will infuse a powerful enemy to inflict cosmic damage to players. When removed, this power manifests as an enemy who shields all enemies in the area for a short period of time, sharing the pool of shielded health. Players will additionally heal a secondary unit to contribute against the pool. If the shield breaks, damage and healing done to the shielded enemies is inflicted upon them, and the players are granted a Fated Infusion, increasing total health, damage, healing, and absorbs done based on how much the player has contributed. Chaotic Essen will summon an orb which defeats all players, but may be interacted with. This activates the foe, which spawns additional enemies for a short period of time. Each one is slain, more spawn, and after a window of time, players are rewarded with another Fated Infusion, increasing damage, healing, and absorbs done, stacking for each enemy defeated. Now, with the increased difficulty brings better rewards. So the way Fated rewards work is as soon as a player enters a raid in Season 4, they'll pick up a quest called Crossing Fate, which will lead the player on a quest line to continue killing raid bosses in the Fated raids that will give them a new form of currency called Puzzling Cartel Dinar. Now once you have this currency, there's going to be 3 new vendors in Orbos that you can buy gear with. The gear that they sell are actually pieces of loot that drop from the raids on normal quality, which is item level 278 to 285. This basically gives players a boost to help combat bad luck. Let's say there's an item you really want, but it's not just dropping. Well, now if you get enough of this currency, you'll be able to just straight up buy that piece of gear from one of the vendors. Now for Mythic Plus, in Season 4, there's a new affix called Shrouded. Basically, Dreadlords will be disguised as enemies in the dungeons, and you get a reward for killing them. On top of the new affix, there's a huge change to the map rotation in Season 4. Rather than just doing the same old dungeons we've been running the entire expansion, Blizzard decided to mix things up, and we're basically going to be doing some new old dungeons. For Season 4, the map pool is going to be the Tazvash dungeons, both Operation Mechagun dungeons, both Karazhan dungeons, and Iron Docks and Grimrail Depot. Personally, I think this is awesome and a really cool design for the dungeons. We're going to be getting all the Mega Dungeons and 2 Warlord or Draenor dungeons. So this season is going to be really interesting. I can't wait to see what items and what's basically going to be best in slot. It's going to be really cool to see people simming all the old trinkets and things like that from the old dungeons. One other thing to note is that world bosses are going to be empowered. The way it works is different world bosses will be linked to the Fated raids. For example, Mortanus, Oranmanos, Nurgash, and Valinor are tied to Castle Nathria. Morgath is linked to Sanctum of Domination, and Antros is linked to Sepulchre of the First Ones. Just keep in mind that if you kill one of them while they're not linked, you're not going to be getting anything new. So aside from the changes to the new season, there's going to be a bunch of nerfs and buffs to different classes and specs. The big takeaway is Destruction Warlocks and Survival Hunters are getting pretty big nerfs, so they might not be on the top anymore. And the other changes are basically going to be, well, the most noteworthy one is Shadow Priests are getting a pretty big buff, but other than that, there's just a few minor ones here and there. Feel free to check out all the different class changes on the website. So with that being said, I hope that this video helped you get an idea of how Season 4 is going to work. What are you guys' thoughts for Season 4? Are you excited for all this stuff, or are you just kind of waiting for Dragonflight? Either way, I just want to say thanks for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.